Welcome to the Women in Industry podcast. My name is Kirsty Davies-Chinnock, and today I'm joined by Bernadette Beck. Bernadette is the Chief Product Officer of SteelBuy, and SteelBuy are on a mission to modernise the way metal is bought and sold, connecting buyers and sellers instantly through technology, providing a risk-free environment to buy and sell steel in minutes. They have combined extensive industry experience with the very best technology to deliver a seamless process for trading mild steel, stainless steel, aluminium and other metals. Welcome, Bernadette. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome. Thank you very much for inviting me and having me.
And you were saying before I hit record, you're in India at the moment.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Every time I go onto LinkedIn, anybody in the SteelBuy team seems to be in a different part of the world. Do you do a lot of traveling?
Yes, I do. Actually, I do very much. And I like it very much.
And I tend to stalk everybody a bit on LinkedIn before we do these podcasts. And your main line on LinkedIn is people buy into the leader before they buy into the vision by Jay Maxwell. What made you choose that?
Yeah, my personal career experience is like this. So I was always focusing on, how to say, people who help me to achieve targets together with me and inspire me. And I learned during my management career, that's the same for others, especially when I stepped up to take responsibility for a team. I learned that very much, that it's all about people.
I think everything we do, it doesn't matter what the industry is, how big or how small, it comes down to the individuals in your team. And you've had quite an extensive career with digital solutions. Obviously a lot in Germany. And you've were the Principal Product Innovation Manager at Thyssen before the launch of SteelBuy as well. And SteelBuy obviously is a smaller team compared to the larger teams you've been involved in before. How is that different working with a smaller team?
So actually, my main responsibility before at ThyssenKrupp was building up a technology stack here in India for our standard businesses around North America. There was a startup within as well, and then a big standard business, copper and brass sales, and also for our Schulte organization. And we started with a very small team, about 5 people. And then we created this huge organization, which has now about 100 plus people. And of course, the scaling part is not there, but at the end, it starts with a small team that has a vision and has excitement and trust into this vision, and that we achieve it. And then we start to evolve ourselves and create benefit. And that is what we also do at SteelBuy. So I like this very much. It's not that different. Of course, it changed when the approach became bigger, to keep the business and the one-to-one relations we had in the beginning as well. And that's what I enjoy within SteelBuy very much, that we are small enough still to know each other, to learn to trust each other, and be very close to each other.
It's nice to start something at the beginning, and then have or be part of the team where it grows, it evolves, and it does achieve that success, which is what you've done in your previous teams as well. There have been, over the years, several online platforms in the metal industries in the UK that have come in and they haven't worked. What makes SteelBuy different? What's going to make SteelBuy work?
Okay, yeah. First of all, it's a technology driven company. So it's we are, of course, we trade. We are a marketplace for steel, and this is our main business. But the core that drives this business is technology and all disciplines around it. So, and to combine that with very traditional skills you need on the steel side makes it very, very exciting and also very challenging, because you have to bring different mindsets together and create something completely new out of it.
The technology is something that I'm very interested in. I don't profess to understand it, but being my age, having seen, I started work and there was fax machines and they were exciting and new. And then to the original email address, I had an email address at work. And I'd ring up my customers and go, have you got an email? I can send you an email. And they'd go, no. And there was nobody else who had an email address. So seeing it evolve, it gets faster and faster and faster and faster. So how quickly is the technology that you're working with changing? Is it constant? Is it constantly evolving?
Yes, of course. Our whole, how to say, product approach means how we learn from the market and have the whole market research and product management in place, and also the way of choosing technology. So we are very generic in the architecture that we can adapt very fast. We have state-of-the-art technologies. We decide on what we develop on ourselves and what we buy in, what is standard and is also has not been adapted to the market. It's fast buy-in. And what is the innovation part of our business is self-developed, but with technologies which are proved. So it's a mix of to be adaptive, but also be scalable and experienced enough to do this. So this is the challenge we have on the technical side. And I think the initial approach is very like this. So that allows us to be fast.
And I imagine one of the most exciting part of your job and your team's job is how the technology is changing, and not only reacting and adapting, but looking forward to trying to see where it will be in 6 months' time. And nobody will know, but trying to plan different scenarios for if it moves this way, if it moves that way. Is that really what excites you when you're doing your job?
Yes, that's very much. So it's you need a very experienced background to be that adaptive and do that in a scalable way. And this is the most creative part of my job. So to be very conscious in what you try and where you decide to be committed and not so flexible, and where you have to be flexible, and how you deal with that. And this has different layers. It's on the technology side, it's on the skills of the people. It's also creating an atmosphere where everybody has a future and learns fast, that they can step easily from one technology in the other, etc. So it's It's very challenging, exciting, and innovative.
And the whole sort of ethos of SteelBuy, with having this new way to buy and sell metals, all industries change, all industries evolve. And I know that there will be traditional companies that will welcome SteelBuy's role of doing this, and there will be traditional companies that think it's a flash in the pan, and others who will see you as disruptive. And there is no right answer, there's no wrong answer. It's going to be different people's perceptions, because some parts of the metal industries are very traditional and don't change, and others do look at how they can change, how they can evolve. And I think more and more are looking at, we want to be different. What's our USP? How can we get greater share of the market? Which is, I think, difficult for some, easier for others. And a lot of that tends to come down from an outsider looking in, at the diversity of people in their team, whether they've got younger people, general diversity. The team at SteelBuy is very diverse. Does that give you benefits? Does that give you advantages?
Yes, of course. That's the reason why we are diverse, because we need to be diverse. Exactly what you described. We come out of a very settled industry where the things how steel is traded is done for many years the same way. And now new business models coming in and trying to change and create also new value, new benefit into an old business, I would say. That means you have to respect and accept what's there and integrate that in all of the new things that we highlighted. So it's a vast technology adaptation required. We have to be adaptive to the market. We have to learn very fast, and we have to do that with different kind of people and with different backgrounds and skill sets. We know that. And this is why we are diverse. It's not because diverse is sexy, And it's all nailed down to be successful and perform in the market and create a value for all of the players there. That's what we want to do. And this is what keeps brings us together and also bridge all of the diversity. Means also you have separations. And in that separation, you have tension, but out of this tension, there's a lot of creativity coming out of it. But you have to learn to steer it and to manage it. I think that is the big challenge.
I think you're right. You can't have diversity for diversity's sake, because all that happens then is you have people that can't talk to each other, can't understand each other, and it's finding common grounds and managing that. Particularly the stainless steel industry, which is my experience, has gone through some quite big changes over the last 30 years. 30 years ago, the Far East didn't produce stainless steel and were a massive marketplace for the European mills. Then China started producing a stainless steel, then Taiwan, and go through to India as well. So all of these changes, the stainless steel industry has weathered them. They've adapted to them, and they've been successful with them. Do you see that happening again with the likes of companies coming on like SteelBuy doing online marketplaces?
Oh yes, I very, very much believe into that. And I know it's really also a big challenge because, technology and IT was never in this area a key stake to be successful. Of course, it was more on the back end side that you have the systems in place and organize your logistics and your sales in a better way, for example. But it was not really a key component to deal with steel. But I'm very much believe into that, and that's why I'm here, that this becomes in future a core asset of this industry as well.
I think you're right with that, and I think it's something that you need to be able to accept and adapt. And the more you do that, the more your own businesses will change going forward and they'll grow. And technology is something that is part of our everyday lives, but it's making it work for us rather than just doing what it says. It's finding something that adds a benefit that really gives you a return on investment. And that can be quite difficult, particularly for smaller companies, for SMEs, because you try and do things and a lot of the technology doesn't fit quite right. You can't afford to have bespoke. And sometimes there's great advice, sometimes there isn't. So I think making technology more accessible, particularly to SMEs, is something that's going to sort of fuel that growth going forward. So SteelBuy's a fairly new company. What is your most important goal to achieve this year?
So from a product perspective, of course, we want to serve the business. So on our side, we have a strong sales team in place and with a clear product strategy and sales strategy. And we also have a product innovation process in place where we directly talk with the customers to learn and serve them with our platform. And for us, from the technology side and product side, is to create a buying and selling experience that benefits our customers and creates revenue for us, of course.
Yes.
That is what
that is the thing.
and that's what we
Yes.
want to achieve.
And you're currently in India. Where else are you planning to visit in the next few months? You said you travel a lot.
Okay, so currently it's I'm for 2 weeks here in India, and then actually I go back to Germany. I'm located in I'm German citizen and I live in Berlin, and then of course after that I'm very fast back in 3 weeks in Birmingham in our office in Solihull. And after that, let me check, France and then Spain. So mid of June and then mid of August, I'm back in Birmingham. So I'm all over the place, but that's like we are. So we have employees on all of these places. And especially on the tech side, we look for talents that fit to us, and we are not so strong with where they live. They have to buy into our business idea and create value. That's what we want, and I don't care where they live.
I'm going to Liverpool in 2 days' time, and I'm already moaning about the fact I've got to drive from Birmingham to Liverpool. So India, Berlin, Birmingham, Spain, France. So out of all the traveling you do, which is your favourite country to visit, apart from Birmingham, because that goes without saying?
Oh, actually, if you, it depends on the month.
Good
I'm
point.
traveling.
Yes.
So actually, I learn now really to dig into England. I was not that often in the UK before. I was more on the US side and in India, but I really like the spring and summer in this country, and I like the mentality more and more. So currently, I'm dig into the English and UK culture, and so that's my main focus. So I like to be there very much.
So we've agreed that Birmingham is one of the best places in the world, which I'm very, very pleased to hear. One final question for you, Bernadette. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh, good question. Be humble and don't think that you know everything. And be experienced enough to make the decisions on your own.
Be humble and don't think you know everything. I really like that. That's really good. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.